think it was at Sydney we had the first chat, wasn't it? For the season coming.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was just about a year ago, and then you went on to just annihilate the opposition again, win your 8th championship, run a whole bunch of 6-0s.
Reset
records all over the place.
Track records everywhere. Yeah, we did.
It's getting to be a bit of a boring story now.
No, it's good. Need more of it. We just need to go fast.
So where's the challenge left for you? That was your 8th championship.
Yeah, well, we've been a lot more strategic over the last 10 years in trying to get the championships, but along the way we've been mindful of achieving records. And one of the goals that we've had, as a team is to have a track record at every major track around Australia. And the one that we didn't have was the Perth track. So we went to Perth in May, and of course we ran really well there. We ran 3 6.0s, and we reset the track record there with a 6.009. So that was a good result. I think I mentioned previously it was a long drive, 59 hours to go over there, and I dreaded the thought of driving all the way back without a good result, and we got that. So
it was an awesome night, and the last ones were virtually in the pitch dark in the deep end as well.
Yeah. Well, the last one was a little bit loose in the shutdown because it drifted over to the right-hand wall.
Before you ran, you were a bit quiet, but we all said, you don't need to do this, you've got it sewn up. Why don't you just, nothing to prove. You've already got the track record.
Yeah, we well and truly had the record, but,
Don't you realise you've only got so many of those passes in you before?
Yeah, I do, yeah. And I'm on number 9 in my cat lives too, so I've got to be a little bit careful if there is such a thing, because I've learnt the hard way by going out when you don't need to go out.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it was safe in my mind. The last one, it was a busy weekend. You may recall, we changed the chain, the length of the chain, the wheelbase we changed, the balance of the bike. We did a motor swap. We tried, the guys tried everything to make it go better off the line. So, it's a bit of a reward. They want to see it go down the track. I
do remember the beers in the hotel room at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's right, after we packed up. Yep.
Yeah, just the sense of satisfaction.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be a long time before someone does that at the Perth track on a motorbike. 3 6.0s in a row.
We know you don't have anything left to prove on that bike, and we've talked for years about the 5-second pass, running in the 5s.
Yep.
I've known you 15 years now. When I first met you, it was your first season.
That's right.
And you were the new guy.
Yeah.
And now there's nobody with more experience than you.
Yep.
And yet we haven't had a 5.9 or a 5.8. It's been there so many times.
Yeah.
And we've had this chat before. There just aren't the tracks in this country where you can do it safely. You can't run that bike to the line.
No.
Because you won't stop.
Yeah, well, that sort of hasn't changed, and that's just a fact of life. We've just got to deal with it. So, we've got to shoot. We've got carbon brakes now on the back of the bike. We've, since we last spoke, we've upgraded the forks internally, the Oland's forks, so they're harder spring rating. So we found some damage in one of the forks when we stripped them down. And that was a result of a couple of the near misses we had. Mildura was nearly a disaster. We hit a bump a couple of times down there and broke the steering dampers, and that's where we damaged the fork. But mid-season, you can't strip them and rebuild them. So they were sent away to an expert.
Mildura and Heathcote last year were tricky
Yeah.
to the point where the tracks weren't up to the standards of the bikes that were running there, really. They're a little bit green, the new track at Heathcote and Mildura. The risk factor's considerably higher at those tracks.
Yeah, well, Mildura was a half track, and it was, for us, very dangerous because we had huge power. But, we got through it, I've got to say. A lot of damage to the bike down there, but we got through it. And then Heathcote, which was a new track, it was a full-length track, but for us difficult in the sense that the start line was on an angle. So instantly when you're left on a single-tired wide bike, the bike wants to go to the right. So that was tricky down there, and to the point where the other bike riders, everyone got together after the first night of racing and said, we're not going to run the next day, it was too dangerous. Everything's got to be right, otherwise, it's going to end up in tears.
Okay, so 2023, start of a new season.
Yeah.
You're not chasing a championship this year. What's the goal? What are you going to do?
We're still mindful of the points, accruing points throughout the year, because we'd certainly love to win another championship. But I guess we're more focused on individual results on each pass. In saying that, we're chasing the ET, whereas we're not playing chess over the weekend with the points and the strategy to make sure we get to the final.
Okay.
So I guess I'm not so bent out of shape if we're not to the finish first, but if I do my job, we should get to the finish line first and hopefully get some performance results from those efforts. So
if you do your job and it's a nice pass, if someone then beats you to the finish line, then good luck to them.
Absolutely. We're beatable. There's no question about that. Like anyone is, we can have a mishap or a smoke a tyre or whatever, but we're more focused on performance results than accruing points. We've proved over the last 10 years, we've won 8 championships and been runner-up the other couple of times, and spent 6 months in hospital in one of those and still came second, sort of thing. So we've sort of been there, and it's time to really zero in on trying to go quicker. And we've been going quicker, slowly, and in that process, getting points, winning championships. Last year we reset our own national record with ANDRA, reset all the track records, and the IHRA national record, which was ours as well.
Chris, I wouldn't mind saying, in view of recent events that have happened in drag racing, I won't be sorry the day when you say, I've done enough, because it's like a pilot. You only get so many low altitude stall turns, and I think you've used up your quota. I just will be happy when you say, I've done enough, regardless of whether you get your 5.7 or your 5.99, I don't care.
Yeah, well, I get that too, and I often think that. But there's still a goal there. I want to go a little bit quicker. I'm not getting younger, so I'm mindful that I'm getting old, and I'll get to the point where I'll get beyond being at that edge. And if you're not at that edge and you're not confident in your own ability, I'm more than confident in the bike and the team and all that side of it. I still have my own confidence to do my job. The minute that I'm not 100% clear on that and right on that, I'll stop. And the ET thing, the 5 second, it doesn't matter. For the next guy to come along, I hope the next guy does. Runs the 5, and I hope someone does 9 championships in 10 years. That's what I hope. But I'd just like to go a little bit quicker and achieve that goal. Yeah,
You know you could have taken that bike back to the States any time in the last 10 years and run on those incredibly long strips they have there. Because the problems start for you at the finish line or just before it.
yeah,
That's stopping the bike's a bigger issue than the go. You've got more than enough horsepower.
Oh yeah, the bike will run it, no question. You know, the bike will run like the things run 580s in America. You know,
And the
15,
increments
15
you've
years.
already done, the increments are there when you go.
Yeah.
There was a 5.7 that pass, you know.
Yeah. The numbers are there. It's just, you know, want to be able to pull up. It's no good running a 5 and binning it in the process, tumbling down the deep end and say, well, you know, we ran a 5, but it wasn't a very good finish to it. So, you know, I'm very mindful of safety, always have been, and as I say, you know, we do everything we can to get a safe result. And you know, I'm mindful I've had a number of near misses trying to achieve what we want to do. And as I said to you earlier, you know, I'm a cat guy and I'm on number 9, so I can't mess it up. No. So I've got to be careful. So I'm conscious of that. You know, I've got family, kids, you know, wife and a cat. So, you know, I want to go
especially
home and see
them.
Yeah, especially the cat. So, you know, I'm mindful of going home. You know, we've seen just recently, you know, unfortunately, you know, one of the high horsepower cars end up, you know, with a fatality. So it's there every pass. There's no question. You know, your next pass could be your last one all the time. You know, these things are very fast and very dangerous. You know, as the cars are, and the fuel cars. You know, the funny cars. You know, even the smaller bikes, the comp bikes and the extreme bikes, they're all, you know, they're dangerous.
It's easy to say that, oh, it's a dangerous sport. But having sat and watched you so many times, it really is.
It is.
You can go from 0 to sudden death in a second on these things. So,
well, that thing does 100 mile an hour or 160 kilometres in the first 60 feet. So literally the width of this room, you could do 160 kilometres per hour. Yeah. Just here, you know, one of the riders on one of the Harleys back when I first started, there was 2 bad accidents the first time I came here.
I remember.
And, you know, one of those, as you say, was in, you know, he got thrown off in the 60 foot. He had a crack in his wheelie bar and it threw him off and slapped him on the ground and, you know, damaged his internal organs. He couldn't fly home, so...
Oh, this is turning into not a very cheery conversation. Let's lighten the tone.
But it's part of it.
It is.
And if you can't accept it or not aware of it, or if it's not in the forefront, you shouldn't be here because it'll end up in tears. Yeah. Well, I'm convinced of that.
Have you thought about going back to the States and taking your bike back there? Because I'd love to see you running against Doug and Larry and those guys, and just on one of those big long tracks, a big runoff. I know you'd give them some serious competition. You know that too.
I'd love to go back there. I sort of said to Larry when I bought the bike, you know, I'm going to come back here before you retire and I retire and we'll race, but not until I've achieved my goals here in Australia. Once we do that, we've already got the container and it's fitted out. It's just waiting.
Wow.
To roll the bike in and go. So
now you've got me excited.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do that. That was part of buying it. Was, you know, come over here, conquer what we wanted to conquer and achieve over here, and then go back over there and, you know.
Especially as it's a different bike now from the one that you bought. It's the axe that's had 16 handles and 3 heads, and it's quite a different bike now. Yeah. The plenum, the gearing, the cams, the whole custom motor that Phil's put together. Yeah. You take it back there, Larry would spend the first day just looking at it, going, "Wow." Yeah. Well, we've worked closely with Larry, and we've sent a plenum over which he's running. You know, I guess the first stage of the bike when I got it, we started to refine it. Then I had a big accident, and that virtually tore the bike in half. And going forward from there, you know, we then changed a lot of things on the bike, built our own motors, you know, with Phil O'Brien, our crew chief, and he's really brought to the table some very, very clever ideas. You know, I'm constantly trying to keep up with
with what we do to the bike. We do, to look at it just looks like a blue bike and nothing changes. But what goes on between rounds, a lot. We're always trying to make it safer, and we're always trying to get more power out of it, and always trying to get the power to the track. The front end, after we damaged the front end, that's probably the third time we've smashed up the front end just going down a flat, straight track, as people think. But the forces and what's at play when you turn the throttle off and try and stop it it's like two different bikes.
So let's talk about tomorrow and Saturday.
Tomorrow night we've got two qualifying passes. There's 4 bikes entered, which is great, and then 3 runs, an all-run format on Saturday. And it's quite hot down here. We're in summer. It's going to be a late start. I think our first run's about 5 o'clock to try and get away from the heat. And hopefully the track doesn't become greasy because of the heat. It'll be good. It'll be a good turnout. They've got 250 entries, so it's a totally full house. 7 fuel cars.
Yep.
So it'll be a big event.
And you can go fast straight out of off the trailer, as they say.
Hopefully, yeah. I'd like to, yeah. We've made a couple of changes to what we normally do in the setup of the bike. So
secret squirrel stuff, so we can't talk about it. But you've come up with plans to go even faster, more horsepower, more of this and a bit more of that, and you go. You don't need more horsepower. You need less horsepower.
I know, it's never enough. And of course, when you put more in it, it changes the setup for the clutch and trying to not smoke the tyre. So, but that's what we do. We're greedy. We always want more and more speed, more power. That's what the sport is.
I know the funnest thing is actually riding it, but I think you really like all this this chat beforehand when you're sitting around making plans. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yeah.
The long hours you spend with Phil and Nick and Jamie.
Yeah.
Just making plans. I think you really enjoy that.
Yeah, well, it's a challenge, and it's like trying to run fast. It's a challenge. The whole thing is a challenge. Driving from Brisbane in the truck, I clearly like the challenge. Work's the same. I still enjoy my work. I wake up and I can't wait to go to work. I'm 63 and I love going to work. You're working with younger people, so it's enjoyable to impart what knowledge you have on different things, whether they take it on board or not. It's up to them, but it's all a challenge, and the highlight of the challenge is the result. It might only be 6 odd seconds of noise and smoke and whatnot, burning up things.
A lot's gone into that 6 seconds.
A lot goes into it, yeah. And it starts from, if the truck won't start, you can't race. If the truck breaks down on the way to the track, you can't race. So there's a lot goes on to make it all happen.
It's the stupidest sport, really.
It is,
It makes no sense at all.
The tax office says the same. What is wrong with you? Why? Please explain.
3 weeks of hard work and everyone in hotels and that, and then a slight drizzle of rain and everyone goes home.
Everyone turns around, goes home, packs up and goes home. It's a crazy sport, but the satisfaction that you get from even competing in it, not necessarily you don't have to win everything and reset the world, but just achieve, just getting there and competing and being a part of it, that's an achievement to compete.
Your disarming, self-effacing, good-natured, quietly spoken manner is quite deceiving, because underneath I know when you're racing, you're so competitive. You know how to play all the games. I don't mean that in a bad sense. I mean, you know how to stage and how to dominate. And you don't. And when you're leading, when you're in front, you don't then back off and take it easy. Oh, I'll let him have the go. They occasionally go. Somebody will say, "Oh, let me have this one, Chris, because you've already won the round, won the championship, set the ET and track record. Why don't you let me have this one?" You go, "Yeah, okay, why not?" And then you'll go out there and you'll absolutely annihilate them, because that's just your nature. So
What's that?
don't believe him when he says he'll let you have one.
Yeah, well, I really don't believe him, but yeah.
No,
This time I want one.
you want one.
Yeah.
You want it.
I want that number. See that number 1? He's on the side of the right?
Yeah.
That's going to be mine.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. One mustn't be put off by this good-natured fellow, because underneath you're a very nasty person.
Correct. 100% right. Well, I think you've got to be to achieve. And, we've been doing this, for over 10 years now. And it's not because we're pussycats. We're doing it. You've got to be pretty hard on yourself and in sometimes others to achieve. Everyone's got to achieve. Otherwise, you're Joe Average. And we don't want to be Joe Average. You only got one life. So you need to hook in and have a go. I'll be sitting in a nursing home not far away, and I don't want to be looking back saying, oh, geez, I should have gone a bit harder, or maybe I should have got up a little bit earlier, or I should have come down to the track a day earlier than what I did. Not so much the mind games, but there is a lot apart from just, the bike and riding it. I've spent a lot of time in boardrooms and dealt with a lot of corporates in my working career, and I've worked beside shearers. So I've had both ends of the spectrum, and one of the things that attracts me to this sport is that the people that are involved are absolutely major spectrums. You've got a corporate big company owner that's out there in a fuel car, or you'll have, Joe Blow in his young kids in a junior drags just trying to make his way. So in the staging lanes, you don't know who you're talking to because you only see them from time to time at the track, and you rarely get to talk to people at the track. Once, when people get here, and that's often why we put a barbecue on, because people tend to relax before the racing. Once the racing starts, you can't talk to anyone, everyone's on the job, and then after it's over, there's a huge relief that it's over, but everyone then races to pack up and gone, and you don't really see anyone between races because they're scattered around Australia.
Yeah.
And you need to really focus on every part of what you do. Where you park the truck needs to be straight. Got to be a good spot in the pit. You're thinking how you can get in and out to make it easy for the guys. All those little things, I'll always try and get here early in case I have a problem on the way. There's 50 plan Bs for everything. And that's the way, if you're absolutely serious about what you're doing, and it's not for the faint-hearted, but it's also a massive commitment, not only at the track, but away from the track, at the workshop. I still do, 3 days a week at the workshop. We need to fix this or make that easier or get better tools or whatever it is.
This can be a bit disarming, I think. I think I've just figured you out. You have the barbecue, and you're naturally a helpful person, Barbie, and you'll share anything and help anybody who needs help. And I think it disarms some of your competitors a little bit, because they go, why is this guy so friendly? And when it comes to competition, then all of a sudden you're fierce.
Interestingly, the other bike guys that we compete to don't socialise that much. And I think that's, it's probably a little bit of tall poppy. Australia's very, they've got a good or a bad track record with tall poppy syndrome, where if someone is going well, they tend to become a loner. And we started off like anyone, 10 to 12 years ago, and we were chasing the guys that were at the front of the pack, and everyone was friendly. And as soon as you start, disarming them, so to speak, all of a sudden, no one says hello. Other competitors are certainly friendly.
In other categories.
Other categories are happy to talk to you and exchange pleasantries but that,
But I've seen you help people a lot who've like John Zara last season. He up and coming guy, but he's similar age to us.
Yep.
But when he needed help, you were happy to help him. But at the same time,
we'll help anyone, Stu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our fiercest competitor, I don't want him to lose because he hasn't got a back tyre or whatever. Larry said to me when I first met him, one of the things that stuck in my mind was, he said, Bubba, if you can't get to the line, I will lend you everything in my truck. Whatever you need, I'll give you. But once you get to the line, I won't allow you to have anything apart from your lane. And that stuck in my mind, and it's true. You know, you can't lend someone something when you're both in stage, you know. But, you know, we'll lend anything we can to help people, you know. And that, you know, that's why we have a big truck full of things, you know, because we bring a lot of stuff for ourselves. As I say, there's a heap of plan Bs. That's why the truck's full of things, you know, motors, wheels, whatever. It's all in there.
Saturday night, it's all over.
Yeah, how can you predict with fuel bikes or anything with
All right,
nitro in
not a
it?
prediction. Best case scenario.
Oh, well, a good number would be best case scenario.
I see on your shirt it says, what's it say on your sleeve just there?
Not sure, it's upside down, I can't read
It
it.
says chasing 5.
Yeah, absolutely, yep.
The unusual things you're doing this weekend that are slightly different that might make it a little bit safer and faster.
I think it will, yeah, if we can execute our plan, I'm hoping that the results will be good.
Okay.
I've walked the track, and the track, you know, looks really good.
Got a favourite lane?
Right, but that's a secret.
Well,
I like the right down. I've crashed in both down here, but I do like the right lane.
scary crash early on the left, huge crash in the right.
Yep, so I've covered all bases now.
Yeah.
So should be safe.
Well, what can I say except nice to be involved again this year. Thanks for inviting me along.
Yeah, no, good to have you back, Stu.
Mate, I hope you have a great, safe weekend.
Yeah,
That's all I want.
We'll do.
I actually don't care about the times anymore. I just want you safe.
We still got a goal, and we'll push to get it, and we still enjoy it. As I've always said, if we're not enjoying it, we'll just cut it up with a gas axe and take up ping pong or something.
That's
like
never
that.
going to happen. But I look forward to you achieving your goals, because then you and I can go back to the United States of America and take it to them.
Yeah, go over there and play with the big boys. No, it's exciting. I still love it, and you think about it before you go to bed, and you think about it when you wake up. How can we do it better? What do we got to do? Where are we going to next? Phil, what are you doing? Jamie, Mick, come on, why don't we try this? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do it? It's a huge commitment what we do. To do it well, and to do it, 10 years. I look at Larry, him and his brother have been doing it, for a long time.
40 years.
Yeah, a long time, and they're 7-day-a-week guys in the workshop, and that's what they do. I've been over there and spent time with them, and I'm in awe of their commitment to it. It's their whole life, has been, and the end result is, Larry's got 21 championships and 20.
But he's not running a huge multinational conglomerate like you are as well.
No, I don't know about that, but his commitment. Larry is a special person, and Steve. They are two special people that you come across in life and in our sport that you just won't see that again. What they do every day for their whole life, what they bring to the sport. They've helped me. They're always there. If you want to talk to them, you can ring them up, and I'm sure there's everyone tries to ring them up and talk to them, but you ring them up, Larry will always find time to talk to you and, give you a solution or an answer or whatever. And never in my wildest dreams did I think that we'd be sending things to Larry to help him. So there's been a lot of good things on this journey. It's not just results,
That's why the competition's going to be so sweet when you take your bike back over
well, we need to hurry up and get on and do it.
The only reason you were that fast, Larry, you're using using my manifold.
No, I don't think so. No, he's done fine without us, that's for sure. No, it's been a good journey, and it's I wouldn't change it for the world.
To see how the event unfolded, make sure you stay tuned to the Nitro Voodoo YouTube channel. To give you a clue, here's one of the passes in very difficult conditions.